Welcome back, Deep Divers. Today we're diving into a topic that's always captured the imagination, UFOs.
Definitely a fascinating one.
Yeah, and we're going past the usual pop culture stuff
Right.
to look at some real evidence
Okay.
and ask some tough questions like,
Yeah.
have governments been, I don't know, maybe downplaying or even hiding real UFO encounters?
Could be. We'll see.
We've got some pretty amazing sources to help us get closer to the truth.
Like what?
Declassified government documents, some secret programs like 8DAA, SIP, and ATIP,
Interesting.
the history of Bigelow Aerospace,
Okay.
even that whole Skinwalker Ranch mystery.
Lot to unpack there.
Get ready to be surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, some of this stuff sounds like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie,
Right.
but it's real, and it raises a lot of questions.
For sure.
So to kick things off, let's talk about Robert Bigelow. You wouldn't exactly picture a hotel tycoon getting super into UFOs, would you?
No, not really. Not your typical UFO enthusiast.
But that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. His story is pretty interesting. He made his fortune with budget suites of America,
Okay.
but he was always passionate about space exploration.
Mhm.
So in 1998, he founded Bigelow Aerospace.
Ambitious.
Oh, yeah. His vision was to make space travel more accessible.
Oh.
They even developed these expandable space station modules.
Really?
Yeah. Based on technology they licensed from NASA.
That's impressive.
One of their modules, called the Beam, it's actually attached to the International Space Station right now.
Wow. So we're talking about a real space pioneer here, someone at the forefront of technology.
Absolutely.
But then he buys Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah, that place.
Which, it has this reputation for being a hotbed of strange events.
It does.
What was he thinking?
Well, it seems he was really drawn to the mystery of it all. You've got reports of UFO sightings,
Right.
cattle mutilations, all sorts of paranormal activities.
Creepy stuff.
He wanted to use real science to investigate these phenomena,
Yeah.
see if there was any truth to it.
Makes sense.
So he sets up the National Institute for Discovery Science, or NIDS,
I've heard of that.
specifically to study the ranch.
Interesting.
And we're not talking about amateur ghost hunters here.
Right.
NIDS had actual scientists, people with PhDs.
Wow.
And they used high-tech equipment to try and document all the weird stuff happening there.
So he's got this team of serious scientists
The best.
investigating a place that sounds like it's straight out of, the X-Files or something.
Pretty much, yeah.
Did they find anything?
Did they find anything? That's the big question, isn't it?
It is.
Even with all their resources and expertise, they struggled to find hard proof, something scientifically verifiable of the paranormal activity. But this is where it gets even more interesting. Remember Bigelow Aerospace, his space exploration company?
Yeah.
Well, it turns out they also got contracts with the Defense Intelligence Agency.
No, wait, the Defense Intelligence Agency, what did they want with a space habitat company?
Well, these contracts weren't about building space stations.
Oh, okay.
Bigelow Aerospace was tasked with investigating UFOs and other strange aerial phenomena.
So hold on. The government hired a private company to investigate UFOs.
That's right.
That's pretty wild.
These contracts actually led to the creation of two programs, AAASAP, which stands for the Advanced Aerospace Weapons Systems Applications Program, and ATIP, the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program.
So we have a private company funded by the government to look into UFOs. This is getting pretty interesting. What exactly were these programs looking into, and what did they find?
Well, a lot of the information about these programs, especially ATIP, is still classified.
Of course.
But we do know that they analyzed tons of reports of UFO encounters from military pilots and other personnel.
Okay.
Some of these reports have actually been declassified in recent years, and they describe objects doing things that, well, they just don't fit with our current understanding of physics.
Like what kind of things?
I'm talking about objects making sudden accelerations, right-angle turns at super high speeds, stuff that our current aircraft just can't do.
That's incredible. We're talking about highly trained military personnel seeing things that seem to break the laws of physics. It's pretty hard to just dismiss that as fantasy or hallucination.
Right. And the fact that the government was funding these programs, even secretly, it kind of suggests that they were taking the possibility of advanced unidentified aerial technology seriously, very seriously.
It's almost like something out of a movie. The government trying to keep the truth about UFOs under wraps to avoid public panic.
Yeah, I could see that.
But these programs and all the reports coming out, They suggest there's something more to this story than we've been told.
Definitely more to it. And Robert Bigelow, the hotel tycoon turned space entrepreneur, he was right in the middle of it all.
It's a fascinating story. And it's only getting more interesting.
Oh, yeah. Buckle up. We're just getting started. It's fascinating, right? Bigelow wasn't just involved with Skinwalker Ranch and those government contracts. He's actually on record saying he believes in extraterrestrial life.
Wow, really? That adds a whole other dimension to this. Did his personal beliefs affect his research, or did the research make him believe in aliens?
It's hard to say which came first, but one thing's for sure. The government has been interested in UFOs for a long time.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, think about Project Blue Book back in the 50s and 60s, one of the most famous official UFO investigations ever.
Right. And even those investigations often ended without clear answers, like they were holding back information.
Exactly. And this is where Bigelow's story gets even more interesting. He actually sold Skinwalker Ranch in 2016.
Wait, he sold it. Why? After spending so much time, money, and effort researching it.
It is strange, isn't it? Makes you wonder if he found something there, something so crazy or unexplainable that he just had to walk away.
Maybe. Or maybe he just decided to focus on something else.
Could be.
Okay, but let's go back to those government programs, AWS, AP, and ATIP. The people who worked on those projects, what was it like for them?
That's a great question, and luckily some of them have spoken out. One of them is Luis Elizondo. He was a military intelligence official who actually led ATIP for a few years.
Oh, I think I've heard of him. He left the Pentagon in protests a while back, right?
Yeah, in 2017. He was frustrated that the government wasn't being transparent about UFOs, like they weren't taking it seriously enough. Since then, he's been a big advocate for UFO disclosure, talking about his experiences and what he saw while he was with ATIP.
So what did they find? Anything concrete?
Well, Elizondo has said he believes there's strong evidence that some UFOs have technology way beyond anything we have. He's talked about objects that can accelerate instantly, make sharp turns at supersonic speeds, movements that no known aircraft can pull off.
And this is just random people, right? This is coming from trained military personnel, pilots with years of experience.
Exactly. Elizondo and others have pointed to radar data, sensor readings, even videos captured by military aircraft that seem to back up what they're saying. These are people with high security clearance who spent their careers protecting national security. Hard to brush them off as just making stuff up.
Yeah, no kidding. It's like they're putting their reputations and careers on the line to tell people what they've seen.
Right. It makes you think, what did they see that made them take that risk?
That's a good question.
A big one.
This is all so incredible. It feels like we're on the edge of something huge, like we're finally starting to see what's been hidden about UFOs for so long.
Maybe we are. As we go deeper, we'll look at the latest developments, new evidence, and the growing demands for governments to be more open about this.
Sounds like things are really changing. More and more people are starting to accept that UFOs are real. But let's step back for a minute. What if we do confirm that UFOs exist? What would that mean for us?
That would change everything. Imagine the impact on science, religion, philosophy. Everything we thought we knew about the universe could be wrong. Our understanding of physics, technology, even our place in the cosmos, it would all be up for grabs.
It's mind-blowing. Our whole worldview could be shattered.
Yeah.
But it's also exciting.
Oh, definitely.
Think of what we could learn if we could study alien technology.
Limitless possibilities.
But there's also the risk of conflict, right?
Of course.
What if we meet a civilization that's much more advanced than us?
It's a scary thought.
Definitely.
Exciting and terrifying at the same time. But we can't ignore the evidence. We need to keep asking questions, demanding answers, and searching for the truth.
So the big question, do you think governments are hiding information about UFOs from the public? And if so, why?
There are a lot of theories out there. Some people think it's about national security, that governments are afraid of causing mass panic if everyone knew about UFOs.
That's understandable. If people suddenly found out we're not alone, it could cause a lot of chaos.
For sure. Others think it's about control, about keeping the power structures in place.
Interesting.
Imagine if we learned that we've been visited by beings with technology that's light years ahead of ours. It would make people question everything.
That makes sense. Who has the power? Who controls the story? Who decides what we know?
Yeah. Big questions.
Unsettling.
Definitely. That's why we have to keep an open mind, question everything, and be willing to consider things that might seem crazy or impossible.
But if governments are hiding something, what could it be? What's so big that they feel they need to keep it from us?
That's the question, right? That's what drives all the conspiracy theories. But even without going down that rabbit hole, we can look at history.
Okay.
Governments have always classified information, especially stuff about national security, new technologies, and potential threats.
That's true.
And with UFOs, it's easy to see how those same concerns would apply.
Yeah.
But are they hiding something truly amazing, something that could change everything?
That's what we're trying to figure out.
Exactly.
It's like peeling back the layers of an onion. The deeper we go, the closer we get to the truth, but we also find more and more questions.
It's a fascinating journey, but frustrating at times.
It's amazing what we've learned about Robert Bigelow and all this UFO research. From hotels to space habitats to Skinwalker Ranch, secret government programs, unexplained stuff, even aliens.
And it's bigger than just Bigelow or a few random events. This is global, something people have been reporting for decades. Sightings all over the world that we still can't explain.
Right, like the Phoenix Lights in 97, thousands saw that giant V-shaped thing just hanging there over the city.
Yeah.
Or the Nimitz encounter, the Navy pilots tracking that tic-tac-shaped object doing impossible maneuvers.
Those are just two. There are so many well-documented cases that just don't make sense with normal explanations, and a lot of them you've got multiple witnesses, radar data, even photos and videos.
Hard to say it's all just people seeing things wrong or making stuff up when there's that much evidence. Makes you wonder, what really IA's out there?
Yeah.
And if these things are alien, what does that mean for us? Is it dangerous? A good thing? Something we can't even wrap our heads around?
Big questions. Scientists, philosophers, even theologians have been thinking about that for a long time. The idea of meeting aliens, it changes everything. How we see ourselves in the universe, what intelligence even means, the future of humanity.
Exciting and kind of scary all at once. Think about the tech we could learn if we figured out how their stuff works. But what if they're way ahead of us? What if they're not friendly?
It's a risk, no doubt. But whether we like it or not, we can't ignore all this anymore. UFOs are real. We got to deal with that. We need to be curious, investigate, try to figure it out.
So what do we do? How do we get to the truth about UFOs and maybe even prove aliens exist?
Well, we got to keep pushing for the government to be more open, get them to release what they know, declassify documents, have hearings where experts can talk freely without getting in trouble.
Absolutely. And we need more real science focused on this. For too long, it's been dismissed as fringe stuff, conspiracy theories. But we've seen the evidence. It's time to take it seriously. Studies, data analysis, all that.
And most importantly, we need open minds, but also critical thinking. Question everything. Consider different explanations. Be okay with the idea that maybe we don't know everything.
That's a great point. So, as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of UFOs, one last thought. The truth was here. Hidden in plain sight, maybe even laughed at, but real. The evidence exists, waiting to be found. It's up to us, everyone who's curious, to keep exploring, keep searching, keep asking the big questions.
Maybe someday we'll solve the mystery of UFOs, prove once and for all that we're not alone in the universe.
That's a future I want to see. But until then, we'll keep digging, keep looking, keep asking those tough questions. Thanks for joining us on this journey, and we'll see you next time for another deep dive into the unknown.